Okay. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this once. I think it needs to be said. Let's have a chit chat about Strive Millia, shall we? Since the exhibition with Dogra and Takehara, there's a lot of people looking at that exhibition alone and are just going off about how Millia is just bad. Millia sucks. No pin. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. I would say it's easier to make that argument and discussion about Nage and Faust, because Nage is the best Faust in Japan. I repeat, it's pretty undisputable at this point. Nage was, still is, the best Faust in Japan. Dogra and Exerd played Sin, Soul, and Raven. I didn't add an extra character in there. I didn't say Millia at all. In tournament, I've seen him play those 3 characters. Okay, so with that being said, I think it's pretty fair to say that Dogra is a phenomenal player. He is Cyclops Gaming. He's got multiple top 8s under his belt. Evo top 8s. You name it. He's been there. He's got SBO under his belt. Been there. Done that. That's not the thing that's in question here. What is in question here, and what's pretty obvious, is that Dogra is not good with Millia. He's not known for playing Millia to any capacity. Does this mean he's never played Millia before in his entire life? Nah. He's probably played Millia to some capacity in the older games. Probably. But if you know anything about Dogra in the older Guilty Gears, he also mained Robo-Kai. In fact, in Accent Core, he was the best Robo-Kai. He was part of the reason why Robo-Kai went from poop tier to, man, this character's really dang strong, almost A tier, you know? And I'm not talking plus R. So you plus R heads, stay on that side. I'm talking about AC, okay? A lot of people are up in arms and saying Millia is bad. Like I said, you can make this argument about Nage with Faust because I think you got to see more of a back and forth between Goichi and Nage. So you can make some deductions from that, you know. There's obviously some things that Nage wasn't doing that, you know, I would have liked to see. And I mean, he only had so long with the with the game, on top of the demo when it happened, when we had the ability to play. So he's had a lot more play time with his character than, say, Goichi with Nago Ryuki with 2 days. So we can definitely come to some conclusions, and I think a lot of people agree that Faust wasn't good in the beta, and I'm starting to think somewhat the same currently now. I do think there's an improvement about Faust, but this is not what this is about. This is about Millia and Dogra. It's literally okay to say that, I'm going to say it for you, okay? It's okay to say that Dogra just is bad with Millia. It's okay to say Dogra sucks with Millia. It's okay to say that. It's not okay to say that Millia is just outright trash because she doesn't have airpin or this, that, and the other. Like, I would say if they got someone like Nakamura, who was the best Millia in Japan in Exerd, then I'd be like, okay, I would definitely feel a little bit more at home saying stuff about Millia not being too great. Because if you think about it, on the developer side, they picked the 3 best people with the characters. Takehara, best Ram. Nage, best Faust. Tomo, undisputed best Leo. 3 of the best with their characters were selected, right? Versus the only person on Cyclops Gaming who was really good at Guilty Gear was Dogra. I'm not going to sit here and say that Fenrich wasn't good. I'm saying I've never really seen Fenrich play Guilty Gear like that. Everyone knows he's really good at Blaze Blue. Everyone knows he's really good at Dragon Ball, right? Goichi has played just about the same amount of games as Dogra, but I would say in Guilty Gear, he wasn't really at the tip top. You know, he's a great player, but he wasn't really up there. I would definitely say Dogra was stronger than him at Guilty Gear for sure. And same with the guys on the other side of the table. Those guys are clearly the 3 best with their characters. Does this mean Goichi can keep up? Not necessarily, especially with Dogra. Now, what I will say about Dogra is if Dogra was to play Soul, I think you would have seen a completely different match between him and Takehara because he actually knows how to play Soul. Not to mention, no one's talking about Dogra having to train those two girls to play in the exhibition as well. So literally, how much time did Dogra actually have in between training these two and then playing Millia and trying to learn a whole new character? You know, I would assume in the beta that Dogra most likely played probably Soul and Kai, you know, whenever it was available. I didn't watch the streams. I don't know what happened with that. I can't say. I was too busy streaming myself, right? But let's just say he was streaming. I would assume he was playing Soul and Kai, most likely, you know? So we have to jump off this thing where it's like, it's almost like it's like cancel culture before the game's even out, you know? Like I said before, I think it's okay to make deductive reasoning, but to just say, oh, Millia lost pin, it's just bad now. How does Millia get in? The same way she got in before she had pinned, because in case you guys didn't know, she didn't get pinned until, what, Guilty Gear Slash? You know? In Guilty Gear XX Midnight Carnival and Reload, she was top tier without that. Just so you guys know, again, she was top tier without those things. And she still mixed you up the same way without having the pin, right? So, pin basically let her play a different game than what she was playing before, and it just added to what she already had, right? So losing this item isn't necessarily a bad thing if they intend to take her back to what she was like previously. And anyone who played those games will tell you that Millia was really, really strong. You can look at old footage of Kakyoin, amongst other players who played Millia without pin and were doing just fine, right? That doesn't mean she can't do just fine in this game without it. Yeah, there are some things that do look a little suspect right now, but I couldn't really see much of the character because Takehara was too busy putting his foot in Dogra's ass that entire session. Does that mean that, you know, Dogra's a bad player? No. Does that mean that Millia sucks? No. It just means Takehara was in that ass. Like Takehara, he was on one that day, you know? And it helps that, guess what? Takehara was the best Ram, and it just so happens he messed with his character already. You know? Had Dogra had, you know, Robo-Kai or something like that, I'm pretty sure it would have been different too. Same with him playing Soul. If he would have played any character that he's had a lot of experience with previously in this exhibition, you would have seen a completely different match, and everyone will be singing a completely different tune. Again, I'm going to say it for you guys one more time. It's okay to say a top player is bad with something. It's okay. They're human too. They make mistakes. They have to learn, just like you have to learn, just how your homeboy has to learn, just like your best friend has to learn, etc., etc. The list goes on and on, okay? Just because they're well known, well respected, it doesn't mean that they're going to click really fast with something either. It doesn't mean also that they weren't learning something, or they weren't, like, it's just Dogra spent time to learn, but he couldn't execute it, you know? That's part of also what I'm saying, you know? He just wasn't able to execute. Like Takehara just took the steering wheel and just controlled the entire exhibition, you know? It was hardly a back and forth. It definitely looked like Takehara between those two was the most comfortable. I think it's safe to say that, right? So I think at the end of this all, I just want people to understand that, like, I believe Millia is strong in this game. There are some things that are questionable, but we haven't seen the whole picture yet, you know? And it's the same thing with, you know, with Naga and Faust. You know, I personally think Faust right now is not looking too hot. It's okay to show concerns, but we gotta jump off this doom and gloom. Like, that's the first time we've ever even seen Millia get played outside of, like, the trailer. Like, come on, man. Have deductive reasoning, but don't sing the doom and gloom. Just because you don't have pin doesn't mean you can't play neutral, okay? Doesn't mean you can't play a neutral game. Doesn't mean she doesn't have a neutral game. Her tools are different. It's a different game. You know, same thing with Faust. You know, I have my feelings on that. It's still different. You know, I admit it is still very different. And even though I may have my opinion, it's still different, and there's still much to be seen, you know? But again, you know, we all would have liked to see more. But just don't jump to conclusions just because a tool's missing. Even though, like me, you'll hear me talk about Chip and him missing teleports. Obviously, I would prefer him to have it. It does raise some concerns for me, but you know what? Even from playing him in beta, like, Chip is still good despite not having teleport. Alpha Blade is the new teleport. It is what it is. I'd love to have both, but if I can't get both, I'm gonna use what I have. You know, it's okay to not have some tools. It's okay to want the tools. You know, I'm pretty confident Millia is gonna be okay in this game. Even if she's not top tier, I don't think she'll be absolute dog shit, like the way people are making it seem. So this went on a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but I just wanted to be like real with you guys and just dispel that real quick, because I think it's been a lot of that, you know, reading since Saturday night going into Sunday up until now. It's like, dude, try to be optimistic and like just accept that Dogra got smoked. Okay, it's okay. If you need therapy for it, it's fine. I understand Dogra's your favorite player and you didn't like seeing him lose, so it's Millia's fault why he lost. It's not Dogra. Well, maybe it's the other way around. it's again, it's okay. Okay, it's okay. Say it with me now. Dogra at the moment is not good with Millia. You good? No? Let's try it again. Dogra at the moment is not good with Millia. You see that, you know, doesn't it feel good to get it off your chest and just say it that way? Does it? Come on. Sit tight. Buckle up. Let's see what ArcSys has to offer. Let's see what happens down the line. Let's see what happens when the game gets out. Like, we're like, what, 5 months or so before release? So let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Keep having discussions. Keep having healthy discussions. All these things are like pretty decent talking points, but you know, again, doom and gloom. It's not the end of the world. We don't know yet. So with that being said, that's gonna do it for you, boy. I wanted to get this out quicker than not. Subscribe, follow, notification bell, typical YouTube jargon. Do all that. Support your boy. Anyway, I'm out. Deuces, gooses.